You know what's really interesting? No one really talks about the HDR calibration that's included with Gears 5 Tech versus Tech Test Demo. And I think this is probably one of the coolest features for those of us who love 4K and HDR. The Rod Ferguson is really going out of his way to give us the best possible customization for our HDR televisions. And there's even a curvature line where you can see if you're clipping, if you're overblowing your white digital levels, or if you're crushing your black digital levels. And it's pretty cool that they have that on there so you can see. For example, if I move my contrast all the way high, you're going to see that curvature slightly move down, letting me know that I'm now increasing my contrast, and therefore I'm crushing my digital black levels. And if I move my brightness, I'm going to be crushing them even more. Look at the line down there. Now if I move it up, they're going to see the line go up. And if I move my brightness down, you're going to see the line move to a different curvature. Okay, and this is pretty cool. It's pretty cool display that they put up here. But anyway, let's get back to the calibrating this. So what do I recommend for the OLED? Alright, since this is the OLED, there's no point of us moving it to 1000. Okay, the best ideal thing to do here for us would be to leave it at 700. And I know you guys are gonna say, well, why 700 HDR brightness? Because this is an OLED. This is a OLED. It's not a QLED or Z90 or the new Quantum Vizio. All right, this is a OLED, and the OLED can only go as far as 900 nits. So there's no reason for me to be pushing that HDR brightness all the way to 1000. Now, what about the brightness? Well, when it comes to brightness, first thing first, let's adjust our contrast. Okay, now what we want to do is we want to make sure that our contrast and our brightness, it's balanced. So that way we're not crushing anything here. So let's try and adjust that. Alright. And I think this is pretty good, because you don't want the game to be too crushed. You want the game to look a little bit redefined. And a contrast at 30, brightness at 200, and HDR brightness 700. I think this is very ideal for this game. But let's go check it out. Let's see how it looks, shall we? And even here you can look and see that it's looking more redefined. You can see in the background more vividly. You can see the dark shadows being more redefined. So it just looks better. But let's do a boot camp. Let's jump into a boot camp. Let's see how it looks in the boot camp. You see, even in the dark areas, you can see a little bit more redefined, so it's not being crushed. So I like this HDR much better like this. I don't like you have to avoid crushing your digital black levels. All right, you have to keep everything balanced. Okay, that's the whole idea of HDR, is to have a balanced picture. If I'm crushing the detail, then I can't see shit. So what's the point, right? Here, as you can see, it looks really nice, man. Everything is nicely redefined with more balanced brightness and contrast. So this works for me. I mean, you guys don't have to use this HDR settings, but I think this works for me. Works for me really well. You guys should definitely use this feature. This is a pretty cool feature, man. Go to the options and use this feature right here. this feature, the HDR calibration. This is awesome, dude. This is probably one of the best features in the game, for you to be able to adjust your peak brightness, your digital black levels, your white digital levels, to get that nice balanced contrast. Okay, now what's the contrast? Contrast is the contrast, like the word says, contrast, the distance between your digital black levels and your white digital levels. Okay, you want to have a balanced contrast, because if your white digital levels are too dimmed, then you can't see that detail. If your black digital levels are too crushed, then you can't see nothing in the dark areas. So you have to have a balanced contrast ratio, and that's what that curvature is over here for. Okay, like you see right here, be careful not to lose detail in the darker area. That's what they mean. Don't crush your digital black levels. All right, surfaces, you got to be able to see that the overall brightness, it's visible, so that way you can see in the distance. Same thing here with the white digital levels. You got to be able to see definition of your white digital levels, so they're not being overblown. And that's what that curvature line is for. So anyway, I think this is pretty cool. You guys should definitely check it out and use it. I've been messing around with it. I think this value right now, it's what I would use. But let me know what you guys think about this HDR calibration. Thank you for watching, guys. I just figured I'd throw this in there. I don't know how many of you have actually checked this out. If you haven't checked it out, I think you should check it out. And just play around with it, see what you can find. And let me know what you have, what kind of suggestions do you have in terms of what would you use. You can leave a comment down below. Thank you.